If we now apply that understanding and look at it in relation to our life, if we can understand that body is not me, there are other processes that yogis use. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it talks about how the body is constantly going through a transformation. You have an infant body that becomes a child, becomes a young person, then a teenager, then moves into the 20s and adult life, moves into middle age, goes into old age, then becomes, approaching death. And there is something common, even though all this change is taking place, it is the same person. The body is constantly changing, but the person remains the same person. The person who is experiencing the childhood activities, who's experiencing the adult activities, experiencing the old age activities, it is the same person. It's not that their identity has changed. From a scientific perspective, within a short period of time, a few years only, every single cell practically within the body is replaced. Even the cells that are not replaced, like some of the brain cells, there are types of cells within the body that are not replaced. The fact is that the matter, the atoms, the matter that is making up those cells is constantly being exchanged and transformed. So we can say, practically speaking, within 5 to 7 years, and closer to 5 years, every single atom that made up your body is uniquely different from what it was 5 years earlier. From a scientific point of view, if you have a whole different arrangement of matter, is it not a different identity? Is it not something different? And it's a hard one to answer, because people go, well, no, it's the same person. Okay, if it's the same person, what is remaining the same? What is remaining the same? All the matter is changing, constantly changing. What is remaining the same? If you can say it's the same person, well, I don't know, the same genes? I mean, get down onto a genetic level. Still, you've got atomic particles which are being constantly changed. In one sense, we can consider it like a waterfall. When you look at a waterfall, and if there is a consistent flow of water over the waterfall, it remains always the same form, even though it is a constant stream of changing water. The basic form remains the same. In a similar manner, the body is constantly transforming and changing, yet there is a consistent identity. And we know from the earlier example that we talked about, particularly with death and death of someone that we love, there is an instant recognition that even though that body is exactly the same as it was 5 minutes earlier, I am experiencing a profound sense of separation and loss. I recognize that something is missing. Something is missing. Yet, throughout my life, I have been living with this misunderstanding. It is not an understanding, it is a misunderstanding that this particular body that I have on is me. The particular body that you have on is you. And so I seek to cultivate a relationship through this medium. I feel this is the person that I love, or the person that I care about, or the person that I am enjoying a relationship with. And yet at death we are confronted with this other reality. That body is still there, but I cannot have a relationship with it. There is no longer any exchange. So if this body is not me, what is this misconception that I have developed? And I am thinking all this time, oh, this is me, that is you. And our whole life is built on this idea that we can relate forever. This is not clear thinking. And unfortunately, all living beings within this world, save and except for a very small number, exist in this great illusion. So that is one example. You want some more? I'll just read this verse of Patanjali again so we can reflect on it in relation to what he stated here and what we've discussed. Incorrect knowledge formed about something which is not based on its true nature is called false understanding or a misconception. I mean, how big is this misconception that this body is me? There are people that outright want to deny the existence of any spiritual reality. They want to claim that the body is a bunch of chemicals, that life is the product of chemical reaction and electrical impulse produced out of those chemical reactions. But a person will innately feel and experience that when we are separated like this at the time of death, let me just retrack a little bit. There has even been attempts by certain scientists to try to analyze what is the chemical composition of the body and what is the volume of these chemicals, and you can even ascribe a cost to it. And the cost is just like a few dollars. A few dollars. If I get, a few little flasks with the chemicals that constitute the body, and plus a much larger one with all the water that is in the body, which is the majority of what the body is made of, and I'm trying to carry it somewhere and I trip and I drop, and it's all smashed and the chemicals are spilt all over. Do I have a traumatic reaction? I don't. It's just like, oh my God, what a bummer, and I gotta clean it up or call a janitor or do something about it and go get some more chemicals, no big deal. So if you fervently believe that the composition of a person is simply this arrangement of chemicals that you see in front of you, why do you get so upset when somebody that was dear to you suddenly dies or is killed? There is an inconsistency with people that promote these type of ideas. Again, we are just beginning to scratch the surface of these things.